Hello, so in this video I'm going to tell you how amazing and incredible it feels when you get rid of a problem that has plagued you for your whole life. If you don't normally watch my videos, my name's Paul and I work with people online all over the world to help them overcome driving anxiety. Now it doesn't matter if your problem is something else, like a fear of flying, losing weight, stopping smoking, whatever it is, it comes down to the same thing. So I'm going to give you 3 examples in this video of times when I've fixed people's problems, and I've often spoke before in my videos about how finding the root cause of the problem can release the problem. Well, let me give you some examples of what those problems were, and I'm sure you'll be amazed when you learn what these are and you think, wow, that's incredible. I wonder what your problem is. I wonder what the cause of your problem is. Well, let's get going. So I'm going to start off telling you about my own problem. So this is quite a personal thing that I'm going to share with you. And I've had this for, well, I don't know, 20 years or more. And I fixed it 2 days ago. It's really weird being a therapist. I never thought of actually using my skills on myself to fix my own problems, even though I've done that before when I trained. But anyway, let me tell you about this thing I got rid of, and you'll see how amazing it is when you find the root cause. Over the last 20 years or so, I've had this really weird problem. Now, it doesn't matter what the problem is, whether it's a fear of driving, fear of flying, whatever. The thing I had sounds really weird, but it was a fear of holidays. Now, I know that sounds really bizarre, but I used to dread going on holiday. I used to hate it. Whenever I went on holiday, I would count the days down till I could come back home. I couldn't wait to get home. I'd even cross the days off on a calendar, 5 more days before I can go home, 3 days before I can go home. I even once went to America and I was supposed to be there for 2 weeks. And the day after I got there, I was trying to book a plane home. Now that sounds really weird, doesn't it? But the reason this is a great example is because you might have a fear of driving or a fear of flying or whatever, and that can sound weird to other people. So this is a great example. So what could be causing this? Why would anyone have a fear of going on holiday? How stupid is that? So I did this technique that I use on myself, and it only took a few seconds, and I simply said to myself, what is the cause of this problem? It isn't quite that simple. There's a few things you need to do. But I went through this short process that I do with clients who contact me. And this memory just popped into my mind. Then this is your subconscious mind saying, hey, that's me. I'm the cause of the problem. And do you know what it was? 2003, I was at an airport about to go to San Francisco. Now this is quite a big thing for me. I'd been talking to someone online for 2 weeks and I decided to go and meet them. And I didn't even really know anything about them. I'd never flown before. I'd never been abroad before. And this was my first big adventure. And I was going to go and meet this person and stay with them for 2 weeks. And what happened is, the memory that came up, I was sitting in the departure lounge and I had these brand new trainers on. And I remember an American man sat next to me and they were checking people's shoes to make sure you haven't got anything in your shoes that you shouldn't have before you go on the plane. And this American man sitting next to me, sitting on my right, said to me, there's no need to check your shoes because they're brand new. And then he walked up, he went over to, the massive windows, like 15-foot tall windows where you can watch the planes on the runway and whatever, what you call the apron, where the planes are on the apron, which is like the area of the airport where the planes are. And he looked out the window and he said, I've had a great time here in England, but I sure can't wait to get home. Do you get it? Can you see where all my problems came from? At a time when I was quite nervous about not flying, I wasn't really bothered about flying, but I was a bit kind of, am I going to like it or not? I was in the airport about to fly to the other side of the world on my own to meet someone off the internet who I just chatted to and I only knew the first name. And someone said, I can't wait to get home. I can't wait to get home. I can't wait to get home. Those words just stuck in my mind. And that's where the problem came from. That's why years later, when I went to America, I wanted to come home. That's why when I went to Cornwall, I only went down the road to Cornwall, 200 miles away, checked into a hotel, I immediately turned around and came home. I cancelled my holiday and did driving lessons when I should have been on holiday, because I can't wait to get home. Those words had stuck in my mind. And I was lying down in my bed with my eyes closed, and when I realised this, that's why I've had this problem for years. That's why I've had a fear of holidays for years. That's why I've always wanted to come home. No wonder I had that problem. And when you realise what the causes are, your driving anxiety or your fear of flying, it's incredible. And you think, no wonder I've had that problem. Does it make any sense? No. Why would I want to keep coming home just because some man said that years ago? And that's how incredible it is. And when people find the cause of their driving anxiety, they say, often their eyes open and say, no way, you're telling me that I've had that problem for years and years and years, and it's all because of that. And often there's just a stunned silence when you realise, and your mind starts to process, what have I been doing? And the problem goes. And I can't wait to go on holiday now. Now, there are often two events. That was what you call the activating event. The sensitising event, that's the event that made it happen. The event that actually led up to that, I won't go into in too much detail, or this video will be too long, but I'd had bad experiences of holidays as a kid. We'd had a couple of times we'd been somewhere, and I remember one time we stayed in a caravan and it was next to this cesspit and it smelt, and we didn't really enjoy the holiday, and we packed up and came home. That's where the problem originated, but it activated later. And it's the same with your fear of driving, or whatever fear, whatever phobia you've got. It's got nothing to do with the driving, as I explained in other videos. Let me tell you an example now of somebody I worked with who had a fear of driving, and you'll see what their problem was. I was talking to this client online, and we were just chatting. They'd done a bit of hypnosis, and we were talking, and suddenly they were sitting there like this, and I was just about to do something with them. And they just said, I've got it. I know what it is. I've got it. I know it. And they told me what the problem was. Now, I'm not going to go into full detail because I don't disclose much about clients, so you have to keep it all private. But this person has had a fear of driving for years and years and years, and they just found a memory like that. It's like, click. I've got it. Now, I'm going to change what it was. It's very similar, but it's not the same. This person had a memory of one day they were walking along and they went to go through a subway. You know when you get like a road with a tunnel underneath it. And as they were entering the tunnel, they saw some dodgy looking people in the tunnel. You know, sometimes you get some suspicious looking characters in those tunnels. That was the thing that caused their driving anxiety, especially when it came to driving through tunnels. Nothing to do with driving. The memory, people often think it must be because I've had a car crash or something. Nothing to do with driving. I can promise you, as I've said before, your driving anxiety has nothing to do with driving. In this case, it was about a tunnel full of dodgy looking characters, and their mind was linking driving through a tunnel with walking through a tunnel as a kid, and they hadn't had that memory for years. It's almost always something that you haven't thought of for years. That's why you can't just think of it. If you're racking your brain, what's that memory? What is it? I've even had people email me. It's quite funny this, saying, I'd love to have your therapy, but I can't afford it. So can you just tell me what the cause of my problem is so I can fix it? How do I know what the cause of your problem is? There's only one person in the world that knows, and that's you. You are the world's leading expert on you. You know more about you than anyone else. Only you can find the problem. I can help you find it, but I can't just tell you what it is. If I just tell you, first of all, I don't know what it is, and secondly, if I just tell you, even if I did know, it doesn't work. If I say to you, the cause of your driving anxiety is a tunnel that you went through as a kid. What? Doesn't make any sense. You have to come up with a solution yourself. This is why people break speed limits, because a sign just says 20. Why? Why is 20 plenty? Doesn't make any sense. All these signs going up at the moment, 20 is plenty. Why? Doesn't mean anything. People ignore them because it doesn't mean anything to them. You have to come up with the answer yourself in order to understand it. Sometimes it's really funny how the solution is staring people in the face and they can't see it. And the third example I'll give you is of a client I worked with once where they had a fear of driving down hills. It's a really common one. People panic and sweat and shake and they can't drive down hills. They have to keep pulling over. We did some work where we went back to find the cause of the memory. And I'm making this sound easy. It isn't that easy. There's a lot of skill needed to do this. But we did this thing where we went back and found the memory. And they were standing at the top of a playground, and this playground was brand new. It had all been built with like new, the asphalt, the brand new tarmac, whatever it is, and it was all shiny and black. And they were standing on top of this hill with a slide, looking down a hill. And then their friend fell down the hill and was seriously injured. This was a really bad injury that nearly killed them. And they couldn't see why, standing on top of a hill, looking down and seeing their friend fall down the hill and nearly die, they couldn't link why that gave them a fear of driving down hills. Sometimes it's one of the hardest parts of my job is where I can't just tell you or it doesn't work as well. It can work, but not as well. I have to nudge people in the right directions. Like, can't you see the problem? You've got a problem of driving down hills. And you've just had a memory come up of a time you were a child and you were looking down a hill as your friend nearly died. Can you not see why you've got a problem driving down hills? And this person was like, no, I can't see any link at all. You can't see a link between your friend falling down a hill as a child and then nearly dying and you now are worried about driving down a hill. No, I don't get it. It's like sometimes you want to just grab people and shake them. It's so funny because some people don't link. They just don't make the link between the two. So I wonder what your problem would be caused by. I wonder what your memory is. I wonder what it is, because it's in there. If you've got the problem, you've got the answer. That's how it works. To every problem, there is a solution. If you've got a problem in your life, you've also got the answer in your life. It's right there in your head right now. You just don't know it. So check out these other videos on the screen for more on the work that I do with driving anxiety. Contact me in the link in the description if you'd like to book a session with me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon for more videos.